last few days. Today is, in the Philippines, it's July 4th. But in America, it's the evening of July 4th. So to surmise or sum up what I've done in to progress forward with the building of the hotel, what I needed, excuse me, what I needed and what I've been looking for about 4 months, maybe a little longer, are 14-foot 2x6s or 2x8s or even 3x6s or 3x8 in cocoa lumber, because I have at least 4 uses for that lumber, but I've only been able to buy 12 footers, which is 4 meters. And I've gone to each of the individual lumber yards in Bohol several times. So whenever I go past a lumber yard and I'm on a tricycle or I'm walking, I go into the lumber yard and ask them if they have 14 or 16 foot 2x lumber, which is, it's rough sawn, so it's really 2.5 inches by 6.5 inches for a 6-inch piece of lumber, or 2.5 by 8.5 for a 2x8-inch piece of lumber. But my concern was the length, not so much the width. So there's a lumber yard called Artis Lumber that I've been in, well, I don't know, if I've been in there one time, I've been in there 7 or 8 times in just the last few months, because each time I go there, they tell me that they might have the lumber that I'm looking for next week. And they are the purveyors of cocoa lumber, one of the purveyors of cocoa lumber in the Panglao area. And it all depends on what size trees they get to cut down. But also, 14 foot is not a common length of lumber, so it wouldn't be stocked. Now, there's 3 lumber yards that provide cocoa lumber, but none of them stock 14 or 16 foot lengths. None of them would even cut it custom for me, even if I paid for it in advance. I don't know why, but when I made that offer, they said, "Sir, we don't make 14 foot lumber." Okay, but yesterday I was on my way to the city to buy another 5-gallon bucket of that rubberized paint, which works great, that I'm using on the roof, and I needed foods and I needed some other supplies. And I was walking down the block, and I had gone to one lumber yard like the block away, and then I said, let me just try these people again. And I walk in, and there it is, 14-foot lumber. So I need 10 pieces, and it looked like they had 10 pieces right there, just sitting right where the main office is. And I said, I'll come back Monday for that lumber. And I walked out of the lumber yard because I was on my way to the city. I got halfway up to the jeepney terminal, and I says, oh, no. This is the first time I found that lumber in 4 months. So I went back and made a deal with the owner. I'll buy that lumber, all of the 14-foot pieces that you have, whatever size, and if you can deliver it today. And the woman, her name is Lili, she was very agreeable to that. So I ordered what I wanted. I thought they all looked like 2x6s to me, because on the top were 2x6s or 2.5 by 6.5. But apparently there were 4 pieces of 2 by 7.5 inch pieces, and there's a reason I mention this. So, and then there was, so that's 1 inch wider than what I ordered and what I paid for on this bill here that I'll show you in a minute. So they put 5 pieces of 2x6 on what's called the chariot. That's yesterday's video. House raising lumber gets delivered, and they have a motorcycle that has a frame built around it so they could carry 20-foot rebar or 16 or 20-foot lumber if they wanted to. It's an amazing vehicle. It even has reverse. It's in the video. If someone wants to put the link up there for me, one of my friends and or wrenches, that'd be great. So let me get a pair of glasses here. So I go to the, I have to put this down for a moment. So I go to the desk and I ordered 10 2x6s. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. I had 10 pieces. I need 10 pieces. I'll take 10 pieces. And of course, I had the money in my pocket because I was going to shop for other stuff anyway. So I pay for 10 pieces of 2x6. Meanwhile, there were 5 pieces of 2x6. This is how meticulous the people in the Philippines are, and how a good business person is an honest business person, and Lili definitely an honest business person. So I have 10 pieces of 2x6. Thank you, Scott. 10 pieces of 2x6 and 6 pieces of 4x4. So that order came out to 7,700 pesos. About almost 8,000 pesos. So that was about $160 for the lumber that I'm going to show you that needs to be addressed today. It needs to be addressed. I should have did it yesterday, but I was going to the city to buy a particular thing that I needed. So for somebody that's not building anything, I just went out and spent $160 on timber so I could move my house, so I could move my container, so I could start doing the foundations to the hotel. So if I wasn't building a hotel, why would I be moving my house so that I could build foundations for the hotel? You gotta love YouTube. And I have a story coming up. It's actually a 5-part story coming up. It's gonna amaze you of the stupidity on YouTube, but not today. Today we're gonna have a little fun with. I'll teach you guys how to secure lumber and why you have to secure it after you buy it. It's not just okay to put it down somewhere and leave it alone. It needs a little love after it gets on the ground. So here is the list again. The 4x4s are actually almost 5 inches by 5 inches. So. And this is all together in supplies. Yesterday was 8,500, 8,700, 9,000, 9,200, 3,000, 12,000 pesos yesterday. Just yesterday's supplies from different places. So, the thing that we're going to do when I go outside is I'm going to show you what cocoa lumber is. I'm going to show you how they measure cocoa lumber, how they measure lumber in what's called rough sawn, R-O-U-G-H, rough sawn lumber. This is rough sawn lumber. I'm going to show you how to handle the lumber. There are people out there that think they know how to handle lumber. They couldn't even begin to know how to handle lumber. It's not just you don't just pick up a 3x6, 14 feet long, especially if you're by yourself. If you don't know how to walk the lumber across the top of the pile or down to the side of the pile, which is easy if you know how to do it. But some people would be on one end of the lumber picking it up and then moving over to the other people. There's a way to do everything in the construction industry. So I'm going to teach you how to move and bind and secure lumber after you buy it. Because you could buy $1,000 worth of 2x4s and put them on the ground. You have some clown deliver the lumber, and they dump it off the back of the truck, $1,000 worth of 2x4s, at like say 9 o'clock in the morning, and you get some lazy contractor or somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and they think they're a contractor, and they just drop the unit of 2x4s, 10-foot 2x4s off the back of the truck, and they say, well, we'll get that after lunch. No, you won't. No, you won't. What you're going to get is a pile of spaghetti by lunchtime, because typically hem fir lumber comes a little wet, and within 3 hours on a hot day in the summertime, it could twist the board as much as 1 inch, rack it, torsionally rack it 1 inch, inch and a quarter, 2 inches. It could just flip 90 degrees. If you had it flat, it starts, the ends of it start to walk up from the sun, because the inside water is dried off and the ends of the boards flip up in the air. And once that happens, well, then you don't have straight lumber anymore, and you're never going to have straight lumber anymore unless you cut it again straight. So that's why I got away with it yesterday, because it was raining. But now today, in just 1 hour of sun, the boards are already starting to rack and twist. So I'll show you what cocoa lumber is, how it's measured, what the grain looks like, and then I'll give you the price of the 3 different boards I bought. I started to say that some of the boards were 7 inches wide. Well, they put those 5 boards that were 7 inches wide to the side, and they stacked them one on top of one another. And the guy got the chainsaw out, and he started putting fuel and oil in the chainsaw. So what are you doing? Because I know the length I don't care about. He goes, oh, these are 7 inches, sir. So what's the problem? Well, we're going to cut 1 inch off of them, which would take like a half an hour for 2 men to do. And I said, no, don't cut them. Yes, sir, these are 7 inches. I said, no, just don't cut them. I'll give the lady the additional money for the wood. I'll just buy 7-inch pieces. So I went over to Lili to the office, and I said, these are 7 inches. Yes, sir, we're going to cut it. I said, no, I'll just give you the extra money. The extra money was $3 for all 5 pieces for that extra inch. So this is the kind of thing that I say you got to be on top of here. Otherwise, it would have set me back 30 to 45 minutes for them to cut the lumber and to stack it where they were going to cut it. And I was in a hurry. I had to get to the city by a certain time. So let's get outside. I'm going to be nailing. I'm going to be clamping. And I'm going to be stacking. Show you how to stack stuff. Okay, first I got to get this camera in its and I have been trying to buy what's called an all aluminum frame to hold this camera that on a tripod. I've ordered it like I probably ordered that frame from China several times. Soon as you put the data in and put it in your shopping cart and check out, put your credit card in, the order just disappears. Just disappears. The page goes blank. That's from 2 different companies. One, the page goes blank, and one, it says that they're out of stock. Gotta tell you, boy, it's hard ordering stuff online here. So we're going outside now. I'm gonna, one more thing, I'll read the comments before I get out there, because once I get out there, I'm going to work. I'm gonna put the camera in the back, and you guys are gonna be watching from the back area. So again, just to recap this lumber is to raise. When I raise my house, I'm going to put pipes between the jacked up board and the house plank. I'm going to put pipes in it, and I'm going to roll the house forward 19 inches towards the ocean, so that I can get my cargo container onto my property next door, and then I can start digging out the corner foundation post on the back west side of the property. And don't listen to the fool that says I don't have a permit, because the fool, he's only fooling himself. How can I do this work if I don't have a permit? How can I even do any work if I didn't have a permit? Boy, that guy is. One of my friends said he's crazier than a shithouse rat, whatever that is. And that doesn't even begin to describe the sickness, the mental, the things that are wrong with him mentally. I mean, my permit has been, I've shown you my permit a dozen times. I've shown you my permit maybe 24 times. And yet, I hear stories that I don't have a permit. My permit may have been displayed mistakenly 50 times. I don't know. But I know that for a fact, I have actually shown you the permit and the permit number. And yet I hear a story that I don't have a permit. That's nuts. That's nuts. That's nuts. Okay, let me go change this channel so I can see the comment. I know Scott posted the link to that video from yesterday. We're going to switch the account. Thank you again, Scott, for that. What garbage. What garbage is on YouTube the last couple of weeks? Oh, my God. You got people going, you gotta come to the Philippines and come to this beach in Manila. Let's just address that one thing, okay? To go to the Philippines to see a beach in Manila is pure stupid, okay? Now, let me tell you what. It's the same thing as going to Mactan in Cebu to go to their beach. To come to the Philippines to go to Mactan, or the so-called white sand beaches where the beach sand is pumped into the back of a hotel. All the rest of Cebu is rock. Rock, 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 rock. It's like walking on broken concrete blocks. That's not why you can't go in the water in Cebu, in Mactan. You can't go in the water because the fecal count in the water in Cebu is so high that in America, it would be illegal to go into the water. And that's at the most expensive hotels in Cebu. The Arm and a Leg Hotel, the Costa Bella. The Costa Bella Hotel has a beautiful sand, pumped in white sand beach. But the fecal tissue behind that hotel a few years ago was such that they wouldn't allow you in the water. The Philippines government wouldn't allow you. And the rest of the Mactan Island area is also that way. So, and the beach in Manila, if you go onto the Philippines environmental website and look up fecal count, you can put in any beach of your choice. And if they take water samples. If they have that beach, yeah, they're pumping in sand on a beach in Manila. And yeah, it's near the city, and yeah, you could go on the beach, but the fecal count is such that in America, at different times of the year, depending on the way the water flows in around Manila or the tide coming in or out, it would be illegal to go in that water in some countries. So it's this, for people say, you gotta come and see this beautiful beach. And then you look at the edge of the beach water where the water hits the sand, and you see 6 or 8 inches of plastic cups and bottles and what we call flotsam and jetsam. What is the point? Come and swim in someone. Message. What is the point of telling people? I know, Scott, there was a technical error there. What is the point of telling somebody, you got to come to Manila to see this beach if you can't go in the water? And none of these people swim to begin with. What are they, afraid to swim? You got the camera set up on the shore, you got somebody holding the camera. Every single one of these bloggers, except myself, nobody swims in the water. They go in up to their knees. This is a beautiful beach. I live 12 minutes from a beach. But you don't go in the water. What's the point? Cowards. You're afraid of a little H2O. What else are you afraid of? Oh, you're afraid of your own shadows. If you can't swim in the ocean, boy, I don't give you any credit at all for having any kind of tenacity to be adventurous. You're adventurous. You go to a white sand beach and you stand 75 feet away from the waterline and you talk about dogs. Look how many dogs are on the beach. You don't go in the water. You don't go scuba diving. You don't swim. You don't snorkel. You don't even get your head wet. But you gotta come here. You gotta come here. You gotta come here to see this beautiful beach. Yeah, I'm gonna get on a plane and travel for 30 hours, 36 hours, 40 hours. Spend $7,000 on a vacation to stand on some sand in a beach that I can go in with water that's equal to septic water. That's what I want to do. I mean, at least go to a beach that's not polluted and then say, this beach, like the beach by my house, zero fecal matter. Well, zero fecal matter means that there's no septic flow from in back of my, now a couple of miles away, because the water flows from the west end of the island to the east end of the island. A couple of miles eastward, you can't go in the water. If you do, it's completely polluted. Alona Beach, for example, the fecal count in Alona Beach was so bad, they almost had to shut it down like they shut down Boracay. But what they did do is they shut down businesses instead of everything. In Boracay, they just shut everything down. The Philippines has no restrictions at all on, or had no restrictions at all on septic water and where it goes. They shut down Boracay for what, a year? Because of the fecal count. Too many hotels were just dumping the water straight. The pipe just went straight out into the ocean. They grinded it up and they just put it in the ocean. So Alona Beach was the same. They went through every business on Alona Beach to make sure they had the right septic system. And if they didn't, they just told the hotel, close the doors down and spend the money to fix that problem. Now they have much more stringent rules. Triple tanks, drain fields, white, they use a different kind of sand for leaching, stuff like that. So you people, come to the Philippines. Look at this beautiful pond. Look at this pond. Look at this lake.
Pond.
Look at this lake. And they don't go in the water. What's the point? Here it comes, the truth bomb. I got some truth bombs. Going to be hidden. The truth bombs on my show that I'm going to release. We're going to talk about some things. I'm going to have to age restrict the video because I'm going to be posting links in my upcoming video, which is going to be talking about men and or women with mental problems, and the places that they can go for help. And if they are a victim of any kind of abuse, whether it's from public abuse or family abuse or workplace abuse. I'm going to be posting the links that these people can go to talk to counselors, because some of these people have been affected for their entire life was changed in a matter of just a few minutes. And I have a friend of mine in New York who probably one of the most did one of the most bizarro things that I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen anything as bizarre as what he did. And I was there when he did it. And I'm going, are you insane? But he did it anyway. So we're going to talk about people that look intelligent, very successful, lots of money, big business type of guy, but has no control over his emotions. And I mean, he might have had, at the time, there was a group of us, let's just say a clutch of friends. We all said, you're nuts. You're nuts. He did it anyway. Because some people are really mentally depraved. And he did it, and everybody laughed. No, I can't talk about that, though. But tomorrow, we're going to go through several people that have been mentally and or physically abused. And I'm going to give you the links to help you out with that. That's true, Ed. It was Ed. When if you go back to the weather on, if you go back to the weather in December, from December 8th till, God, I guess I didn't see a 50-degree day until the middle of January. So if you go back and look at the weather, but on Cape Hatteras, there was snow in Cape Hatteras, 2 inches of snow New Year's Eve on the ground. And I was sleeping on a barge with no heat and a bunch of blankets and stuff like that. It was cold. It was really cold. Matter of fact, I had to shovel the ice and the snow off the plank because on New Year's Eve, there's a pizzeria called Mike's, Mikes, in Cape Hatteras. And that's where all the single and or people that drink alcohol went for New Year's Eve on 98, 99. Mike's Pizzeria, Mike's Bar. I think maybe they served pizza, but it was Mike's Bar, I believe it was. And it snowed 2 inches that night, and I had to shovel the snow off the ramp to get to my barge with a piece of wood I found inside a building near there. It was freaking cold. It was a hard trip. I have about 12 more 1-hour videos like that, and even getting towed in from the Coast Guard from one of the bigger storms. But it went down to 10 degrees a lot of nights, and with no heat, 10 degrees. You're out there all night, all day, and all night working in 10 degrees. It's tough. It was a tough job. Come and swim in someone else's toilet water. Sounds like it's really worked a long trip. Scott, I really got to get outside, but I'm going to go through these comments from my friends. I'm not going to address anything else from this point on, so don't bother. But in America, my friend Irving Klein, the rabbi that taught me how to do concrete work and carpentry and stuff like that, his job was working for New York City to test water samples, and that's what he did. He went around and tested water in all the ponds, the lakes, the ocean, where the outlets were from the sewage facilities. And they kept track of that, even back in the 60s. That was his job in the 60s. Here in the Philippines, I don't know that they have that. I think they have it now, but that might only be 10 years old, that process. Ah, yeah, when someone calls you out publicly and you hide it and you don't acknowledge it, and that's been happening a lot. Somebody's been it's been ignored as if it never happened. And now, all right, eventually that will be addressed, I guess. I mean, eventually the man will have to say, yeah, he's telling the truth. But for now, he's in, what do they call that? In denial. He's in denial that happened. In denial. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have what it takes, you got to go someplace where, or twist and distort the facts like that wood is twisting right now as we speak. You might not think so, but 2 hours in the sun probably monkeyed up that wood a little bit more than when I woke up this morning. So we're going outside, and I'll put you in the back. Got to take the stuff out of my pocket. These, I could leave these on, I guess. Yeah, baby. Apparently the Nile ain't just a river. No, the Nile is running through some guy's head that thinks things that I'm telling you, his mouth is writing checks his body can't cash. That's all I'll say about that. I had a friend of mine named Justin Minicino. One of the toughest guys I ever met in my life. Street fighter. And he really was a mixed martial arts heavyweight contender. He didn't win, but he was a contender. He loved fighting. He didn't care if he won or lost. And he would say that to somebody just before he would say, I'm going to knock you out if you're still in front of me or you're not complying with my request. I'm going to knock you out and you won't even see me do it. And he was very serious about that. He's going, and it was mostly when we went out to a bar in the Florida Keys. And, man, that guy was tough. Justin Minicino. Look his name up if you're a law enforcement officer. Check out what Justin's background in New Jersey was. And he even has a social media page. He was a tough guy, boy. A real street fighter. Okay. Yeah, you know what I didn't do? Okay. All right. I really wanted to come over here to look at something anyway. And then we're going back. Oh my God. Okay. The stuff it's walking already. When even the part that's in the shade here. See how the boards? Look, my finger is under that board, and there's a space over here, a space here, a space down here, a space over here. These boards should be flat on one another where I'm pushing them down, but they're already drying up. And what we call walking, they are walking. And I'm going to unwalk them momentarily. But first I want to show you how much even more it's exaggerated in the front. Because the sun has been on the front of those boards for now 2 hours. And maybe 1 hour yesterday. And if you don't do this, I'll be able to use the boards, of course. But if I needed straight boards, I'd throw them out because they won't be straight if I don't address this issue right now. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you the tools I'm going to use. I'll tell you the boards, and I'll give you the price of the boards as well that were on the list. So let me put a different pair of glasses on, a different gauge. Okay, so here we go. All right. So the first thing you're going to need when you want to handle cocoa lumber, unless you do it all the time, and I don't, you want to have a pair of gloves on. Because these splinters from the cocoa lumber, they go in the thickness of a very fine needle. Hey, Simlicon, welcome to the machine. They go in the thickness of a fine needle, a hypodermic needle. This stuff is. It goes in straight, and it's got an oil on it, and it festers up on you pretty good. So this, we're going to use a 2-pound maul, and we're going to use a 24 ounce S-ring hammer and a clamp, and hold on, and I'm going to use my man hammer. The man hammer is you guys that are not much of a man, you're not manly. Don't come on the show. I mean, watch, because we're going to be using the man hammer and man clamps, man stuff. We're going to do men stuff. Otherwise, I could throw this lumber out. If it dries much more than this afternoon, I won't be able to use it for what I want it for. So I'm going to show you a few other things we're going to use here. Okay. So the guy that doesn't know anything about construction or doing work like a real man, he has all of these tools. Why do I have these tools? Why does somebody deny? Why doesn't that one little man, the little man, just admit that he's never been much of a man? He never will be much of a man because it's too late. His time to shine has come and gone. And that, why can't he admit, after all the evidence, that he doesn't know how to do, things, heavy-duty construction or any kind of construction? Why can't he just admit that he doesn't have what it takes to do the work of real men, so to speak? Why can't he admit that? I don't understand why. So this is a man hammer. This is a 12-pound hammer that I made in 1990, I guess, for my barge. It's a 10-pound hammer with 2 pounds of a 1-inch galvanized bolt with a 6-inch galvanized spike as to where you put your thumb when you do the banging. The real man hammer. Now this is not a ladyboy hammer, but it could be like it's a young man's hammer or a trim hammer. It's called a trim hammer. This is a 16-ounce S-ring. This is a 2-pound maul with a 16-inch handle, and this is a 24-ounce S-ring. And this is a 12-inch clamp. Not a bar clamp. This is a bar clamp right here. And I'm going to use that to clamp it down. So today's dissertation is about how lumber twists, and look at what's happening already. I'll give it to you in detail. See this board here? How tight it is here? See how here, 5/16 of an inch up? On this side, it's the opposite. Over here is down, tight, and then this is a 1/4 inch up. This one is tight, and this is a 1/4 inch up. This is not so tight, but then this one is 3/8 of an inch up. This wood is twisting, torsional twist. It's also twisting like this, like a snake. So I'm going to flush up all these ends, and then I'm going to take some double-headed nails, 8-penny nails, which I bought from New York. This is another product you cannot buy double-headed nails in the Philippines. They don't have them. They never heard of them. If you explain to them what they look like or bring one in, they just look at you and they say, "We don't have those, sir." They don't have double-headed nails in any size. So if you need double-headed nails for formwork, I suggest you bring at least 50 pounds. I did. So this is So now we'll talk about why we have to get this stuff. What's going to happen to this wood if I just left it here? The wood, where is that wood? This wood here, okay. It's going to go like this, like a snake. So this is also going to have to get stacked on top of that lumber. When I get that flush and I get everything tacked down with the nails, then I'll put this on top of that to hold that flat. And then that won't twist or tweak. We call it tweaking. Now, another thing I want to talk about is people were making fun of me when I were building my horses. Remember a few months ago? What are you building horses for? What are you making them like that for? Well, look, right now, this weighs about 80 pounds. There's 1,000 pounds of lumber on these 3 horses, probably a little more. When I put this up there, it might be 1,200 pounds total. And the horses, they stayed together, didn't they? Look, they didn't break. They didn't bend. They didn't fall apart. They didn't move. They stayed right where they were supposed to be. They didn't rack. And because I built them right. So when I do something, I have a plan for what is about to happen in the future with the things I'm doing it with. Where most people, they don't have a plan. Their plan is to wake up and, I don't know, their plan is to wake up and talk about other bloggers. That's their plan. Whether it's truthful or not, well, what's a little thing like the truth to a man that doesn't know what the truth is? But we're going to save that for special. We have a special show coming up. Boy, when I say special, oh, special, baby. I got to get some links together. So, oh yeah, this is the cement mixer that I wasn't going to buy because I'm not building anything. Oh my God, look at this. He's got a brand new cement mixer with no cement in it. Oh yeah, he doesn't have a permit. Look at that, a brand new cement mixer with no cement in it. He doesn't have a permit to build anything. He's not going to build anything. He's not going to build a hotel. No, he just bought that cement mixer and painted it yellow for aesthetics, to make it look like it. Boy, that guy, he was defined as crazy than a shithouse rat. And damn, that doesn't fit the mix. Unbelievable. And on top of that, he lies about everything. He lies that he hasn't seen my permit. He's seen my permit 50 times. Everybody's seen my permit 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times. And I've shown it, physically shown it, actually shown it a dozen times on purpose. And yet I don't have a permit. It's an amazing thing, YouTube is. Okay. Here we go. I'll be working now, so I won't be doing much talking. gotta go around to the other side now and walk some of the boards, straighten some of the boards out. So I'll just put this here, and then I want to get all the boards straight, aligned with one another, so that when I start nailing them down, they'll be even. I was afraid that was going to happen, and it did. Okay, a little bit of a change of plans here. Yeah, I'm going to have to rearrange these two 2x6s. From that end where the camera is. Because I want to be able to turn the machine around, and I'm probably about just shy of letting that happen. So I'll put this up here in the shade so the camera doesn't overheat, and I'm going to be flipping wood. First, I'm gonna lock down. I'm gonna lock down this end because I'm happy with where the boards are on the other side and here. So I'm gonna lock this down with a couple of these double headers. I'm going to clamp it down to get a little bit of the tweak out of it. I'm going to go to the other side and lock that down, and then I'll start moving the boards left to right, right to left. Now, this is what I meant about handling lumber. If you don't know how to handle lumber, it don't work out so well in your favor. Now, I got this pretty much where I want it. I got to go back to that side, lock that side down. Then I got to come back here and then lock this outside board down. And then I'm going to flip more boards on top of the first two. Didn't do this yesterday because those men were not getting paid to do this slow part of the process. Why I'm doing this is because it could be another month of 150 degree days. Could be another month of this lumber sitting out here in the sun. And in a month, you certainly, absolutely will throw this lumber out. It would be complete garbage a month from now if you don't secure it properly now. Just throw it away. All right. So now we have 4 high. Very nice. We're going to move 2 of them over. And then we're going to flip 1 on top of the 3rd and 1 on top of the 4th. It's 3 by 6. That's another animal altogether. All right. Now 1 more trip over to the other side to lock that end in. Some more nails. And then I might try to flip it from that end. Now these boards weigh somewhere around 80 pounds, 85, 90 pounds, maybe 100 for the 3 by 6. You! You take? Okay, swap move. Okay. I want to show you people something before Guapo takes the lumber. This is the kind of branch. This fell off last night during a storm. This is 2 1/4 inches. 2 1/4 inches. Guapo, mein Buttag. I have much more tomorrow. Thank you. About several of those pieces fell off the tree above my house. Several. Some of them were 12 feet long. I already cut those up from my landlord. Where is this camera? Okay, right there. You should have a view. I'm putting the nails in the end of this. But first I have to clamp 1 more board. the twist. Now, I gotta tell you something. There was no twist in any board yesterday when I laid these here. These boards had just been cut. Could have been yesterday morning before I got to the lumberyard. I don't know. But there were no twists in any board. And now there's twists as much as... Okay, salamat. Oh, I have something for Nana. I have some... Drop. It's okay. I have something for Nana. It's your holiday today, yeah? It's your holiday today? Okay. I have some garlic sauce and spaghetti. Hindi wang, ya? Ah. Okay, you're welcome. Tell Nana I said happy holiday. Hello, Ashley. Mein Bundtag. Okay. Got two things done. Saved me one trip to deliver the lumber and one trip to that's the Filipino holiday today. Sabang said that and yesterday, and my landlord is 75 and I went to the stores yesterday, so I bought some extra goods for her so she could have a nice holiday meal. And then I gave them 2 cubic feet of cut up lumber, so they have cooking lumber for cooking breakfast and lunch. Alrighty, next step is I'm going to bring this screw clamp over there because that bar clamp does not have the compression power that the screw clamp does. And then I'll be flipping, I do believe I'll be flipping this 3x over onto the 2xs. I do believe that because that 3x is, that has to weigh 125 pounds at least, if not more. That might be a little different of an animal, but I believe I shall overcome. I believe it. If I believe it, you should believe it. It already walked. I don't have any bar clamps. Pipe clamps I have in the other container, but I don't have any here. Luckily, I nailed that side, and I think once I nail these top 4 boards together, I can lock it up. Now, there's something else about this cocoa lumber. If I don't do this now, while the lumber is fresh and it dries out, the cocoa lumber gets so hard you couldn't drive a nail in it in a few weeks or months from now. If it gets, when it gets to be like 100% dry, putting nails in it by hand is almost out of the question. Small nails, big nails, yeah, but not even so easy. You could drive like a 30-penny nail into a piece of lumber like this, maybe after it's dry, but maybe not. It depends on the lumber. right. We got away with that. Now let's see if we can flip a 3x6. Been a while. I won't have to flip it. Okay, I can walk it. All right. Now where do I want it? I'm gonna. Ah, ah. Yeah, that's where I want it. That's where I want it. Okay. Now, a few more nails to lock them lengthwise and sideways. already that lumber's getting rock hard. Shit is hard. Now that I have them locked down and together, I'm going to do the other side, the last two boards, and then I'm going to put the 4x4s on top of here, and then I have a tarpaulin to cover it so they dry slow. You guys are going to watch from this end here. Right there. Should be good for you. Nails we have. now that the wood is wet and still, let me tell you, I'll say it again. If this wood would dry out, not a single nail I tried to put in, maybe one of 50 nails, maybe would have went into the wood. But now when it's nailed together like this, it's going to dry. It won't want to twist. It'll want to twist, but with the nails, there's enough, should be enough clamping pressure to not allow it to twist so much. That's the plan. That's the plan. It might not work like that, but with the tarpaulin on top of that, on top of those 4x4s, it should work like that. And now we'll put these 4x4s. Now I really should explain to you rough sawn lumber as opposed to milled, M-I-L-L-E-D. Milled lumber, when you go into a lumber yard and you order lumber, you got to make sure that they're giving you what you want. If you want rough sawn, you got to order it, rough sawn. If you don't, they might send you milled lumber and charge you 20% more, but you lose 20% of the lumber. So if you want rough sawn, specify rough sawn. Now I'll get a ruler and show you what rough sawn is as opposed to milled lumber. What milled lumber is and is not. I got to get a tape measure or a ruler. I'll be right back. Now, okay, this is the tarpaulin. When I get all the wood together, I'm going to cover it with this industrial grade tarpaulin that you can't see. Right there. And it's only 12 feet long, but I'll put plywood on the back end of it. So, rough sawn lumber. If you want a piece of 2x6 in America, you're going to get a piece of lumber that's 1 5/8 of an inch thick and 5.5 inches wide. There's my box. They don't really sell rough sawn lumber in a lot of places anymore. But I'll show it to you what it is anyway. Educate you. Considering that's my job. To teach people construction, yeah? Okay, so I should have I don't have it. I need to go inside one more time and get a keel. A keel or a pencil. Okay. Now. Rough sawn lumber. Let's say we want to talk about this being a 2x6. Notice the size of the lumber. Is 6 and 6 3/8 wide. Now this is all cut with a chainsaw, so it's not. There's no standard here. Let me see if I can do it. Can't do it like that. Okay, so it's 6 3/8. Six and 3/8, and the thickness is going to be 2 inches plus. Okay, this is a full 2 inches. Only 2 inches. Now, if this was a dressed board, what they call dressed, it would be 5.5 inches wide. So it would be, you'd lose this much wood. That way, you'd lose that, and you'd lose 3/8 of an inch. Let me close this down a little bit. Okay. You'd lose 3/8 of an inch off the board this way. So the board would be this much smaller. So the bottom of the white to the bottom of the board would be about 1 5/8 inches. And the width would be 5.5 inches or 5 5/8 inches. I don't know how much more they've shaved off They really can't because they have building codes they have to abide by. But this lumber that I'm going to darken here, that would be gone. That's a dressed piece of lumber. So if you want the strength, you get rough sawn. And the same thing goes, now they call that a 4x4, those boards there. And I'm not sure what the measurement is on those boards. I've never looked. It's 5 inches by 5 inches. So those boards there that are 4x4s are really 5x5. But that's not a dressed board. So she charged me 4x4s because when you dress it down, you only end up with a 4x4. And they have different ways of dressing it down. This way it's 4.5, but this way it's almost 5. And the same thing for this one here. So that's the dressed lumber is about 20% more. I mean, the rough sawn lumber is about 20% more, but you lose 20% of the lumber when you dress it down. So the rough sawn is cheaper because it's not dressed. It's 20% more lumber and it's stronger. But the dressed lumber is pretty and it's uniform in size. And that's pretty much the difference. One is uniformly 5.5 or 5 5/8 by 1 5/8. That's the uniform size. Or 4x4, a 4x4 lumber would actually be 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. So what you want to do is you got to determine this lumber here. I want the most strength. I'm going to be raising the house with it. It don't matter if it's pretty or not. I don't want it twisted up though. So I'm going to set the camera down on top of the cement mixer that I just bought to make it look like I might build something one day, and I bought it to so the idiot would have something to talk about, and he is an idiot. There's no doubt about that. Okay, now let's see, where are we here? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna start putting those 4x4s, which are really 5x5s, on top of that pile, and then I'm gonna slide them towards the other end of the pile. Already twisted more than an inch. Already twisted more than an inch in just one day. 5/8 of an inch. Wow. They all walked almost 5/8 of an inch in just one day. Yesterday they were straight. I won't be buying this anymore. I won't need it ever again. And this is basically to put the container on when I slide it over to my property next door. So it don't matter if it's straight, but I really don't want pretzels either. Ugh. Had this thing so clean the other day. I gotta clean it again. I'm gonna put the shirts in there. That's right. Nothing. Not very rarely do you ever get straight lumber. Oh, forget about getting these tools here. They don't. Hey, how you doing, Gary? Thanks for stopping by. Speed bag with my tongue. You're probably man enough to do that. There was a guy talking about somebody else's testicles and gizmos and giblets. 5 hours he spent talking about somebody else's private parts. 5 hours. I heard. Someone told me they spent 5 hours talking about my testicles and my penis. An amazing thing. He's fixated. I know what he wants. I know what he wants. Guapo, hey, looks good. Looks good.
What?
No, the debris, the humana.
Yeah,
Look, very nice.
good work.
Thank you. Okay. Huh. Thinking of my hammer short, I put the hammer over there. Ah, how's that possible? Of all the places I could have posted that nail, I put it right between two boards. Come on. Chances of that? On purpose or zero? By accident? 100%. Now, now, watch what I do next. I'm gonna beautify it. You know what that means. Yellow. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Right, you heard it. You heard the cans of yellow paint. It has to be beautified, as I like to think of it. And the first thing we have to do, of course, is to put the shower gel on my hands and my elbows and arms. So in case, just in case, you know how neat I am, but just in case I get a little paint on my arms, but that never happens. The paint will come right off when I wash it off later, when I take a bath. Now, I don't know how long today is going to be, because yesterday was a long day for me. I got up at 5 and prepared to go to the city. I did a few things in the morning. Then I went and got this lumber. I didn't help them load much of the lumber at all. I did a little bit of labor. But yesterday, walking around the city, I was probably humped at about, I guess, 2.5 miles. Some with 8 or 10 pounds of weight in my backpack and my bag. Probably 1.5 miles with at least 8 pounds of weight in my bag. So that was a lot of exercise for me, considering how hot it was in the city. And as soon as I walked into the building, to do my grocery shopping, it started raining. So from me walking around from 8:30 in the morning till noon, by the time I got this lumber here and back on the road again, it was blistering hot. I went through 5 bottles of water. 2 of them were liters, so I drank 5 quarts of water yesterday before I went to bed, during the day and before I went to bed. So, and then I drank another 2 during the night. I drank a lot of water yesterday. It was blistering hot. Now, so, what should I do next? There's the yellow paint. Look at that. Yellow. I think I'll go start messing it up from that end. This is not painting. We're not painting this. We're marking it. So, marking it means that we're going to make it ugly. Ugly. Lines, stripes, maybe my name. And my name is a good idea. I like my name. I like my name better than some of the names people call other people. Oh my God. If people called me some of those names, I would have to go visit them. But not the fraud. Not the fraud. He's a back it down type of guy. He backs down from adversity. He'll never be a real adversary physically. He'll never be a real adversary at all, ever, to anyone. Because he's lacking in that department. Oh yeah, baby. That's the brush I was looking for. This is my everything brush right here. This paints everything. Paints metal, paints wood, makes a mess. The mess that brush makes, could be proud of a mess like that. Okay, I gotta get over here before I start. I don't want to paint myself into a corner here. Here we go. All right. Oh. Uh-oh. I painted myself into a corner. Ha! Ha! What do I do now? Oh boy. Oh boy. I just take off my tool belt. I'm beautifying this boy right now, baby. This is about as good as it gets. Actually, what I'm doing is protecting it from the sun a little bit. It's only going to be here for about a month. This tarpaulin would probably last the better part of 2 years in the sun before it started to break down. But now, with this additional paint here on here, it'll last a couple of years longer, actually. But it ain't going to be there that long. It's just until I get the pipes and finish the roof and paint the other roof on that container over there. The top of that roof's got to get painted white also with that new paint I got, the rubberized elastomeric paint. Yeah, I'm just only where the sun is going to hit it. I could have did the whole thing, and I was going to do the whole thing, but I don't really have a place to lay it out. So I'll just beautify it a little bit. I gotta put that down like that now, and then go get the paint. Of course, I didn't bring the paint with me. Beautifying it. Come on. Come on. Come on. I got things to do today. I can't be stuck on these horses. Yeah, today ain't gonna be a long day. I'm already got still an hour to clean up. It's got to be about 1 o'clock. That's 2. Got to take a bath, dress the wound. I got to make a list for my next trip to the supply warehouse. I better remember to buy yellow paint, because this is all there is, baby. When this yellow paint hits the bottom of the can here, that's it. Be the first time I've run out of yellow paint in many years. Many years. That doesn't usually happen to guys like me. running out of stock. But there is a reason for it. Not a big, not. I could have bought a closer color to Sun 66 yellow. This is not quite Sun 66 yellow. This is what I'm using this in lieu of 66 yellow, Sun 66 yellow, because uh, there's two places that sell the paint I want, and I went to a place and it didn't have the Sun 66 yellow in stock. So rather than buy another off color, like this one is an off color, I'll get it. They should have it in stock by now. And if they don't, then I'll buy something close and I'll pretend it's Sun 66 yellow. Yeah, I'm gonna have enough. Almost, I think. Oh yeah, enough. Oh. Plus, I didn't really eat breakfast. I didn't eat anything for breakfast. I had 6 pieces of pineapple. In fact, what I need to do is go get a couple more pieces of pineapple. Maybe that's why I'm tired. Wearing down. The sun also. It's pretty hot today. Not so hot. Little wind, but hot. Oh yeah. I'm done for the day. Ah. Ah. All right. The best I could do with this is, that's it. Say I'm done. Come on. Uh-oh. I see green. I want to see green. You know, 4th of July in the Philippines, I don't think I heard any fireworks last night, or I haven't heard any today, that's for sure. They celebrate some kind of holiday here, but I'm not sure what it is. And it is today. That I'm sure of. But I don't know. I don't care either. Nobody has to look it up. I'm not that interested in it. What I am interested in is I wonder if there's any water today. Today's Sunday. Not a good day to get water. Some days it takes, on a Sunday, could take 3 or 4 hours to fill up a 5-gallon bucket. For the bath water, I've had it take that long. I've had days where there's just no water at all. Whatever you have from the day before, or if you really need water, I just go next door and get it out of a 5,000-gallon tank. That's not problematic either. Okay, so I'm going to switch buckets. Which bucket has the paintbrushes in it and which bucket has the paint, because this is no longer has any paint in it. Well, it has a little bit of paint in it. But this bucket here, okay, this bucket has the thinnest in it, but the top on this bucket is so filled up with paint and gook, the top doesn't close properly. So we'll make a nail container out of that. And we'll take this. What do I want to paint with this before I destroy it? I think I'll paint the tires. All right. I got one thing I could paint a little bit of. Tires on the... Okay. Ow. I know what I gotta paint. The edges of these boards right here. They're starting to separate again. They've been painted like 6 or 7 times. Had I not painted them at all, the boards would have already just flaked off. It would have delaminated and fell apart 6 or 7 months ago. But when if you get a good seal on the edge, they last a little bit longer. This one lasted longer than I expected it to, but it needs another coat. Luckily, I have what it needs. That's one thing. I just added another 10 minutes to the day, at least, maybe 15, maybe 20. Now, oh. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't run out of paint. I probably have 4 gallons of oil-based paint, but it's not yellow. And it's good paint though. Some of it might be yellow. We'll have to look into that. Oh, yeah. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you guys look at the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky. I need to get something to drink. And I need a couple of pieces of pineapple. Well, you know what I could do? I could just go bring you in the house and read the comments and then get the pineapple. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. Oh, man. I'm ready for some pineapple too. I have low energy today. Low energy. Not low energy really, but I didn't eat breakfast. I ate dinner at 4 o'clock yesterday, which means that it's been 22 hours. 21 hours since I had any food. I'll be right there. Got the pineapple out, all warmed up. I'm gonna get an ice water. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't realize how hot it was out there. I already drank 1.5 liters of water today, plus a cup of coffee, so that's almost 2 liters of water. I didn't eat any food. You know me, I'm broke. Remember, if you listen to that dirt weevil, the dirt buzzard, if you listen to him, Fazio has no money. Amazing. Amazing. The dirt buzzard. Can't wait to see a certain thing happen. Yes, Andrew, it's a good thing I brought. Okay, so the last message was from Simulacron, and I don't know if I still have my computer went into sleep mode. I tried. There it is. Okay, it's only 1:30. Okay, good. So if it's 1:30 now, so I did that in 11:30. So I did that in 3 hours. Not a bad amount of time to do the work I did, that's for sure. And plus, I showed you what I was doing and why. Probably could take an hour off if I wasn't schooling you people in the fine art of what needs to be done when you buy lumber. Now, you could believe me or not believe me, but if I left that lumber out there, I wish I had a duplicate pile of lumber, duplicate horses. And then we laid it out identical to the way it was on both sets of horses. The one I nailed, then the one I put the heavy boards on top, and then the carpoline I put on top, that one, and then the one immediately next to it, uncovered, unnailed, unstraightened out, unclamped together, and come back 6 months later, and you'd have spaghetti boards. Those boards would twist. I've seen lumber torsional twist on a 16-foot board. I've seen it twist up vertical. One side the board is laying down flat, and the other end of the 16-foot it's vertical or even more. And that's because of the grain. That would come mostly from a piece of heartwood, which most people don't know what heartwood is, but it's just the way they cut the lumber. But cocoa lumber has no grain. It has a grain, but it doesn't have growing rings. So if you have a piece of hem fir or yellow pine, especially longleaf yellow pine, which they don't have here in the Philippines, but that stuff will twist as you take it off the truck if you don't restack them end to end, perfect, vertical, and then put a piece of plywood on top of it and then weights. That stuff will twist up on you when you go to lunch. That is some strange shit, that longleaf yellow pine. I used to build, well, for the guy whose house you see the railing to on my Alpha Male Construction Videos channel, that was the third house I did for him. No, actually, 1, 2, 3, fourth house. Now, the first house, I put cedar planks up in his living room. And it was a dark cedar, and we made look like a barn. But the second house, we won't talk about the second house, right? I did things over there too, but the third house, yeah, that was the third house. Okay, the third house, the third. Third house he bought, and he said, I want to do something different. So they were building sewers, not right at the end of the block. The sewers in front of his house were all done. The pipes were laid, and the street was flattened out. They hadn't paved it yet. But on the corner of his property, they were putting the sewers in on the avenues in Howard Beach. Most of the streets were done in that area, but on the avenues. So I said to him, Bobby's in charge of this whole job here. Another Bobby. We'll give him $100, and we'll take a unit of the sewer wood, which was yellow pine, but it was garbage, fast growth yellow pine, and it had the way they grew the trees. I mean, it was fast growth. It was 1980 or thereabout, but the trees might have been planted in 20 years. They got wood out of the trees, 25 years, not like a 100-year-old tree. So he goes, what are we going to do with that? I said, well, the cedar was what, $1 a foot? And you need 1,000 feet. You want to spend $1,000 or you want to spend $100? He goes, well, how are you going to put it together? So I said, well, we'll strap it sideways, because you got to use 30 penny nails to put that shit together, because the stuff is 1 3/4 thick and 10, 11, 12, 14 inches wide, split, cracked. So he said, well, let's see what it looks like. So he liked it. I put a couple of straps up on one wall and I did a wall quick. And he goes, yeah, that's okay. He goes, but I don't want to see the nails. I said, yeah, all right, I'll drill down. I'll drill a 3/4 inch hole, and we'll put the nails in the hole. Let's just take a look at it. That's all he was going to take a look. So I would drill out a 3/4 inch hole, and then I took a broomstick and cut it down into like 1 inch plugs, 1 inch pieces. And I just took the broomstick, the piece, and plugged it into that hole. The broomstick was a little bigger than 3/4. And then I took a 2-pound maul and smashed it down and just split it like that. Just splashed it like a bullet would just flatten out. And I did that on the whole wall. And he came home from work one day, well, what he called work. He came home from work, and he goes, what the hell is that? I says, those are plugs. He goes, I don't want, and then he started yelling. He would always yell at whatever I designed, and then he'd love it, like later on. Then he would say, not only would he love it, but when I got off the job, he would say it was his idea. So after a couple of hours, he goes, we were sitting down watching TV, and I don't know, maybe it was dinner time, and he goes, I like that. Let's do the whole living room like that. The living room was a ranch house in Howard Beach. The living room was 16 feet from the front of the house to the dining room. The front of the house was 30 feet wide. And then you had 16 feet back into the hallway. So we had 16 and 16, 32 and 30, 62 by 8 times 6, 500 square feet of that lumber. About two units, 2.5 units. They weren't big units. And I did all the pre-drilling down vertical, and all the 30 penny nails we got off the job, everything. For $100 a unit, we got everything we needed except the broomsticks, which we ended up using dowels after I ran out of broomsticks. But the bottom line is, we were sitting down having dinner, and you hear, because the boards wanted to shrink, and they were shrinking on each other, and you could hear them squeaking. That shit went on for like a year. In the wintertime, when the heat came on, the boards would go like a moan of a stomach. And he goes, I'm glad we didn't do the bedrooms. So we didn't do the bedrooms. Actually, 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 he actually, anyway, that was, for those that are interested, I think that was, by the time I was done, what year was that? Actually, this couldn't have been, no, not 1980. What am I thinking about? That was 1977. Oh, yeah. That was 1977. 78. Could have been 78. That kind of stuff eludes me, the dates on certain things. But that did happen. All right, let me read the comments. I don't know. If I don't know who you are, I'm not going to read your comment probably, so don't get offended. Those are the rules. Ed, you and all the negativity, you remind me of, you are a negative person, boy. It's true that that's a lot of money to a Filipino, but you don't understand that no one bothers me here. Very specific reasons, and I don't have to explain it to you or anybody else. But no one bothers me here, not per se because it's me, but no one bothers anybody in this entire barangay province. And you've said things before where I did disagree, and other people have said you have to worry about people taking your stuff. It doesn't happen here. This is not the city. It's not Manila. The guy who I gave the lumber to this morning has counted between 700 and 900 relatives in just this one barangay. So stop with the negative shit, would you please, Ed? I told you once I was going to block you from the channel. I really can't take that kind of shit where first of all, Filipinos in general are not thieves, okay? In general. Now, if you don't believe me and you want to believe these idiots that live in a big city, well, in any big city there's thievery, but in the barangays and the provinces, the biggest theft that has occurred since I've been living right where I am, within 50 feet of where I am, is one time, and everybody knows who did it. The guy stole the chicken, he stole a hammer, and he stole a $10 cell phone. Within a few weeks, things were not going good for him. And that was the last time, and that was 5 years ago. So stop with the bullshit, okay, Ed? If you want to say that Filipinos are thieves, say it on somebody else's channel. Because I haven't seen it. Now, if you leave, if your wallet falls out of your pocket, 9 out of 10 times somebody's going to run up behind you, grab it, and hand it back to you. Even when I drop money, I've dropped money before at the cash register, and I knew it fell. I just didn't feel like bending over just yet till I was done in my wallet. And people will come from every direction to bend down and say, "Sir, you dropped your money." I dropped change on the street one time. My pocket ripped and change fell out. A guy followed me for a half a block telling me change was falling out of my pocket. Ed, I've had it. I've had it with the bullshit on YouTube, okay? And now you're putting bullshit on my channel. Man, you people, you don't give me money. You're not a member of my Patreon, and I got to read your bullshit. And this is like the second time I had to talk to you about bullshit on my channel. I don't need it. The mentality of you people is just, where do you come up with this shit? I want to know where you come up with. Have you ever? I've been doing blogs here for 6 years. Have you ever heard me say that a Filipino stole anything? Ever? I can't because I don't know of any Filipinos stealing anything. And you come up with this bullshit. What did you do? Pick it out of your ass? Are you watching that idiot in Manila who doesn't even know what he's talking about when he's talking about it? Or the other idiot in Subic Bay who doesn't know what he's talking about when he's talking about it? Where these people live in big cities, there's probably theft in the big cities. I don't know. But where the island of Panglao, they don't have a lot of crime here. In 7 years, there were two murders in a population of 100,000. There were 2 murders in 7 years. And both of them were boyfriend-girlfriend type garbage. And both guys got caught within a few hours. And there was 1 rape in 7 years. Now, maybe there was more. There's a lot of petty crime. There's a lot of drugs and stuff like that. But that's more like in the Alona Beach area. That's 10 kilometers away from me. Ed, one more stupid comment and you're shit canned from my channel. Okay? Now you got me talking about negative stuff, you piece of garbage. In fact, I'm going to shit can you anyway. That's the end of that. I don't need to hear this shit. I gave you 5 minutes for you to remove the comment, but you didn't do that. You didn't do that because you're going to show me, right? You're going to show me. I'm going to show you. I'm going to block your ass from my channel and you're not coming back. Hide user on this channel. I talked about how I didn't want the comment there for 5 minutes. You think that you would have had the brains to remove the comment? It's not true. It's not true where I live, and it's not true in general. But you, what are you, drunk? The last time I thought you were drunk when you said something really stupid. You won't be coming back, Ed. I'll tell you that right now. Unbelievable. I should go to the police station and ask what the people are in jail for. Most of them are in jail for, I don't know. There's like 7 or 8 people in jail at any one time when I go to the police station for one reason or another. I have no idea what they're in jail for. And most of them are from a completely different place. Like they're from Cebu. And he got me talking about this shit. Ed, go away, don't come back. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Unbelievable. So I don't know who's here. Let's see. I'll take a look who's in the conversation. Who's in the chat? Participants. I'm the only person in the chat. It says, okay, that's because Ed is gone. Everybody else is just watching, enjoying the show. Thank you for not commenting. I don't really want to read your comments. I got to read this stupid shit. If I leave that up there, it seems as if I believe it's true. If I believed it was true, I would say, yeah, that's true. Now, ignorance, that's a different story altogether. But, no, I don't know of anybody that's ever on my block ever had anything stolen from them. If something happens, I'll let you know. Okay, well, what a piece of shit. Unbelievable. Always with the negativity. That it reminds me of that movie, The Dirty Dozen, I think it is. That guy goes always with the negativity. Elliot Gould? No, not Elliot Gould. The other guy that screams in that movie with the eggs. Donald Sutherland. Yeah, I think Donald Sutherland. All right. My break is up. My live stream is going to end in a few minutes. If you guys want to say goodbye to each other, but nobody's here, so that's good. I'll just say, tomorrow's live stream, I'm going to put together a set of show notes that's going to involve links for people who either are abusive towards their family in one way or another, or their family has been abusive towards them or their children, and I'm going to put together. Thanks, Mickey Mason. Thank you very much. And I'm going to put together links like, let's say you were at work and you were abused at work. Now, we have all kinds of reverse discrimination now. If you talk about, if you call somebody, if you call somebody Mr. So-and-so, like, let's say Mr. Freak, right? Mr. Freak. Hello, Mr. Freak. How are you today? Hey, Mr. Freak. How you doing today? I didn't get hurt today. You didn't get a Woody, so we know that you're not doing really well, Mr. Freak. But anyway, so you call somebody Mr. Freak, and he identifies as a woman, the freak, Mr. Freak. He believes he's a woman. And he already told you, don't call me Mr., call me Ms. a couple of times. But you forget, because he looks like a guy. So you say, good morning, Mr. Freak, how are you today? And he or she, now she, because she gets upset because she believes she's a woman. If you don't think this is real, I walk you next door. Well, the phone don't go that far, but there's a young child that I watched actually being born. He's about 6 years old now, and he believes he's a girl. And if I say guapo, he says, no, not guapo, guapa, I'm a girl. So if Mr. Freak goes into work and says, well, somebody says hello to Mr. Freak, the guy, he freaks out because he believes he's really a woman. And he could bring you up on charges. You could get fired for calling Mr. Freak Mr. instead of Ms. or Mrs., whatever. Because maybe he has a wife, I don't know. That shit that's all elusive in my head. I got to do some research. But I do know of men that are pretending to be men, but they've never done anything manly. And now, in today's world, you're not allowed to criticize them. You're not allowed to say anything. Even if they're starting to talk with a really serious gay lisp, you're not allowed to say anything about that. Or reverting back to a gay lisp from not being around gays, and now they're around gays a lot, and they're getting that lisp back. You're not allowed, and you go into the workplace, and somebody says, "Hey, Mr. Freak, how you doing?" But you're really starting to sound like the gay community talks a certain way. My uncle, my favorite uncle, was gay, and I don't know if I think you call it a lisp, but it's something else. But you're not allowed to criticize them for that, even though you hear it, and you say, what accent is that? Is that like a gay lisp? You're not allowed to say that, even though you're pretty sure it is. But so I'm going to put together some links for people who have been abused at work by their coworkers or their bosses, and or family members, aunts, uncles, mothers, fathers, daughters. Your children could abuse you just as much as you could abuse your children. I'm going to put together a series of real life stories. Real life stories. One of them is going to be based on a friend of mine from New York, who I touched on the subject in the beginning of this video. Um, he did. No, there's nobody that believed what he did. What he did. Nobody. He was mentally abused. Mentally abused. Big time. Big time. By a woman. And I don't know. Everybody said he was nuts. Just get out of that relationship. And no, he didn't do that. And I'll tell you the story tomorrow. That's one story. We're going to talk about being abused at the workplace. We're also going to touch on something with child molestation. I want to talk about that because that I know for a fact happened in my childhood sweetheart. My childhood sweetheart. She lived next door to my mother and father's house. She was molested, raped repeatedly for like from the time she can remember. I don't know when it ended. Probably when she was 15 or 16 years old. And in the bed by her father with her mother in the same bed. That's how abusive some people's grew up. So we're going to talk about child molestation and what was done and what was never done by some people. And we're going to talk about a few different cases of that. But that is somebody that I knew since I was 5 years old until I was 30 years old. When we were 30 was the last time I saw her. She just disappeared off the face of the earth. She lives up in Maine, and she got off social media. Whatever, she was a computer person. She said she had a new boyfriend. It would have been her third husband, and I never heard from her again. But she told me a story, and she told me the story about what happened between her sister, her mother, and her father, and I think that's a worthy story. Child incest in family from could be a father with the mother in bed, it could be a brother, could be your sister abusing a smaller child. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I think it's going to be tomorrow. I got to put the notes together for that. We're going to talk about marrying people that mentally abuse you to the point where 99% of the people in the world would just walk away, and you get further into the relationship and how that worked out. And does it work out? And I have a list. I have the list. What am I trying to guess for? Here's the list right here. We're going to talk about bestiality and whether or not you should marry a woman if you catch her cheating on you, and whether or not you should stay married if you catch your wife cheating on you. Who does this? We'll find out tomorrow if I can get the notes together, and it's going to be an interesting topic. I do really have to do some research to get the names of that type of mental and physical abuse. I don't know the names for that. I've never looked into it. I know in the case of my childhood sweetheart, who I never had sex with, she moved out. Her father dragged her and her family to Maine when they were about I was in high school, so it had to be 1969. I went there, so it had to be 1968. I guess she was about 13, and her father took the whole family to Maine. And the reason the father took the family to Maine is because the neighbors found out that the father was having sex with the children, which was just, that was unheard of back in 1968. But it goes on in this world right up until today. I mean, it's happening somewhere right now, and now they're trying to make that even legal. But what do you do to somebody when you find them molesting your child or any child for that matter? What do you do? What should you do? I mean, it depends on who's watching, I guess. but but there are people that just let that shit fly like water under the bridge. And they're weak people. There's no doubt about that. We're going to talk about that too. We'll talk about weak people that don't have what it takes to do what it needed to be done. At the moment, the temporary insanity thing happens all the time. We'll talk about that. I mean, if you ever caught your wife in bed with another man, you could plead temporary insanity. In fact, that's probably one of the most common cases, to plead temporary insanity. Or you could go inside and just kick the television and leave the house. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. I don't know what day. I really want to do a lot of research on that. And I'll talk about my family, my gay uncle. I talk about him right now. My uncle was gay when he got married. He was gay. His wife knew it. But he wanted to have the appearance of a family. And he was a very nice man to his wife and to his children. I mean, and he was one of my, if not my favorite uncle, one of my favorite uncles, but probably my favorite uncle. Because he was just such a cool guy. But everybody knew he was gay. His wife knew he was gay. Everybody knew except my grandmother. And then my grandfather knew, but not my grandmother. But he never, ever touched us or tried to molest us. Christmas would come and he'd always bring us a present and we got a hug and a kiss on the cheek, but he never once ever tried to touch any child in the entire family. So he was gay, but he was just a normal person that was gay. But there are other people that are gay that they groom children. Passport had a show on that a few weeks ago, where they groom children. There's certain things called the grooming process to groom children into bringing them into that environment. We're going to talk about that too. So we're going to have a really, 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 really big show, but I got to do a bunch of research, and I don't know that I'll get to all of that today. So, Mickey Mason, thank you for the compliment on the good show. Thank you, as always, for watching and not commenting till the end to say thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I don't know that I'm going to let, all right, let's see what we got here. I saw a comment, doesn't show up here, from Mickey Mason. That comment should have showed up. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Thank you. There's some strange people out there. So anyway, my uncle, never. And that's the funny thing about it. Thank you very much. Forget about it. Thank you. Thanks for commenting at the end and the compliment. I appreciate people just watching, listening. And at the end, you can say thank you or not. It's okay. My uncle he was such a great guy. I mean, I don't think anybody in the family ever talked bad about him. Even though he was gay. And this was going back into the 60s. We all knew this. I mean, I knew it since I was a little kid. I overheard my mom and dad talking about it when I was like 6 or 7. But then when I got older, then I knew what he was, but didn't matter. He was my uncle. But so there are normal people that choose different, sexual preferences. But so I can't say all gay men are like that. And he loved his children, and he worked his ass off to make sure they had foods and, clothes and schooling and stuff like that. He was a good man. Not all men that are gay are good men, though. Like I said, they'll let. Well, we'll talk about my girlfriend Terry. What happened to her too? We're going to talk about a lot of people that I know that were molested as children, and by their uncles, and when their fathers were told by the children, the fathers denied that it was possible. These are some sick people out there. Some really, really sick people. And we're going to talk about that. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by. I'm going to end the live stream, and I'm going to go see if I can get water. So it might take an hour to get water to fill up a 15-gallon bucket. On Sunday, it could take 3 hours. I have enough to take a bath, but I still want to have enough, for water for washing and stuff like that. I need to wash a couple of towels, things like that. All right, I'm Pink Permy, which means take care always. From Michael Fazio, who otherwise known as Mr. Congeniality, because I'm a nice guy. Ask me, I'll tell you. I come with my own references. I'm Pink Permy. Salamat. Bye-bye for now. July 4th, 2021.